2 Alaska cruises, 7 nights each, both round trip out of Seattle, both in a balcony. On the first one, I watched a glacier slide right past my balcony. All afternoon, we sat and looked at a glacier, and I didn't plan a thing. On the second, there was no glacier day at all. So we rented a car instead in Juneau, and we went and found one ourselves. Same destination, same 7-night itinerary, sorta, but completely different trip. And the difference was printed on the itinerary before I even booked it. I just didn't know what I was looking at. So here's what I do differently. August 2021 was Norwegian Encore, and it was a 7-night cruise out of Seattle, and we were in a balcony. May 2025, it was Anthem of the Seas, 7 nights out of Seattle, also in a balcony. On a booking page, those are the same trip. Here's what I actually got though. In 2021, 4 Alaska ports: Icy Strait Point, Skagway, Juneau, and Ketchikan, plus scenic cruising at Dawes Glacier. 2025, there's Skagway, Juneau, and Sitka, plus Victoria. No scenic glacier cruising at all. Both had 2 sea days, same length, same cabins, same number of ports, same 7 nights, spent completely different. All right, let's start with the Glacier. That's the one that changed how I booked today. In 2021, the Glacier came out to me. The itinerary was literally called Scenic Alaska and Dawes Glacier. We left Juneau. The ship turned into Endicott Arm, and I stood on my balcony all afternoon and got to watch a glacier. It was pretty amazing. I didn't book a thing. I didn't plan for anything. That's the version you can't mess up. But that glacier, it wasn't free. I paid for it in Juneau. The ship had to leave Juneau early to get out to Endicott Arm, and my day in Juneau got cut short to make room for it. And I never noticed, because on the itinerary, that just looks like a day with more stuff in it. It's not more stuff. Same time, split 2 different ways. 2025, no scenic cruising day at all. I'm not complaining, that's just what the itinerary was. But it meant if I wanted a glacier, that was on me. So we rented a car in Juneau and drove ourselves to Mendenhall ourselves. And we chose that. There was a ship excursion right outside there. We just picked a car. It was the best day of our cruise ever. So here's what I wish someone had told me before my first Alaska cruise. There are 3 ways an itinerary gets you to a glacier. All 3 count as an Alaska cruise with a glacier, but nobody tells you which one you bought. How does my itinerary get me to that glacier? So I stopped asking, does this cruise have a glacier? Now I ask, does it even get me to one? And what's that going to cost me? Neither of my cruises went to Glacier Bay. If that's something that you want, that's not about picking a month. Only a few ships get there in a day. That's about picking a line. But if you like this kind of content, hit the subscribe button. I have 2 more cruises this year, and I like to give you guys the honest version. Okay, let's get back into it. Skagway, my favorite port both times. And the fact that I've said this twice, 4 years apart, is the only reason you should listen to me about it. It's a charming little town with a real old town feeling that you can explore. You get off and you can just walk and spend your time there. It's fun. Ketchikan, I really like this too. It was an afternoon call though, and not a full day. And here's something I'd never thought about before booking. NCL has their own port there. So you're not docking downtown. They bus you in for free, to be fair, but it took longer than I expected. And it cut into our time. And I could see exactly what that was costing me. There was a Holland America ship tied up right in town. And those people, they walked off the ship and they were just in Ketchikan. Same day, different amount of Ketchikan. So I checked that now. Not just which ports are on the itinerary, where in the port your ship ties up. Because that's your time that you paid for. Icy Strait Point was a quick stop. So I don't have a really good verdict on Icy Strait Point. I guess I didn't earn it. I didn't go and explore. And in 2025, I didn't get Ketchikan at all. Sitka was where we went instead, and we didn't give it enough of a chance to judge it fairly either. And that's on us. So recommend researching every port before you get there, because the ones you don't plan for will just evaporate and you'll go, I don't remember that port. Juneau 2021, and as I remember it, it was a short port. The ship was pulling out that afternoon for a glacier. It was raining and it was really cold. We never got off the ship though. That was the whole port and it was gone. I spent Juneau looking through a window. Juneau 2025, it was dry. We rented a car. We drove out to Mendenhall. I went at my own pace. That freedom made it one of my favorite port days ever. And here's how it actually worked, because I think people skip it thinking it's complicated. It isn't. They picked us up right at the port, drove us to the rental place, handed us a map, and that was it. We were driving. And it cost us $287 at the time for the entire day. And it was a full day of doing whatever we wanted to do, with the glacier on the end of it. So yeah, I would do it again. But look at what made that possible. In 2025, Juneau wasn't competing with Glacier Day. That's the only reason it was even on the table. One itinerary handed me a glacier and took some of Juneau. The other left Juneau alone and left the glacier up to me. Now, we often prefer to DIY because it lets us explore at our own pace. That's a preference, not my advice for sure. The other side of it, on a ship excursion, if something goes wrong, the ship waits for you. On your own, it doesn't wait for you. I'm not going to weigh in on that though. And here's what I keep coming back to. I enjoyed the overall cruise more in August. Both are true. I can't collapse them though into one and answer that for you. Nobody warned me about this one. Leaving Seattle in May, the water was rocky. It was tossing everybody around, and people were having a hard time. I remember standing there thinking, I don't remember our last cruise being this rocky. Maybe this wasn't the Alaska cruise I thought we were going to have. It was rough the first day, then rough again the entire sea day. And the ship, it went quiet. People just weren't out as much. I think the rough water kind of made the ship a lot more quieter. And here's something else to think about. The pool was sloshing so much, you could not even get in the water. The ice cream machine, I don't think I ever saw it open. I could be wrong, but I don't recall it ever being open. And it was raining and windy and cold the whole time. So think about that when you're picking a ship. Anthem of the Seas is a big ship with a lot going on outside. In late May, a real chunk of what makes that ship was just not usable. That's not to knock on Royal Caribbean. It's about matching the ship to the month. Sail early season, and some of what you're paying for might be closed. So my verdict on the month, I would probably pass on any early season to Alaska again, unless there was something specific I wanted to see. And I'd done the research on what I was going to be getting myself into. But that's not the whole picture. The crowds in May were noticeably lighter, and Juneau, the port I actually cared about, was better. There are trade-offs. I'd be lying if I told you there weren't. And this is a quick one. The mistake I'm most embarrassed about, I overpacked badly. Way too many evening clothes, dress shoes. And once I was on board, staying warm and comfortable mattered so much more than any of it at all. What I actually reached for both trips, jeans, leggings, a rain jacket, thin base layers to bundle up, warmer button-up tops, comfortable rubber deck shoes. The dress shoes, they stayed in the closet, both times. I didn't really learn that the first time and did it again. So I'd say fewer dress clothes, more layers. And this isn't a generic packing list. What you pack depends on the month you picked and whether you're getting off the ship to go find a glacier yourself. May and August are not the same suitcase. Okay, the balcony question. I get asked this more than anything else. Both cruises, I booked a balcony, so let me actually answer it. For us, we love a balcony. I love being able to get outside. I like the fresh air. I enjoy the extra space. That's just how we cruise. Now, if there were no balconies available, or if they were priced way out of what I wanted to spend, I'd go for an ocean view, the room with a little window. Those interior rooms, I've sailed them before. In an interior, there's no light. It's really dark. Some people love that. Pitch black, dead silent. They say it's the best sleep of their life, but not for me. I need the fresh air, or at least the sense of being able to see outside. So if you take one thing out of this, the date and the itinerary can make 2 Alaska cruises feel like 2 completely different vacations. And I'll be honest with you, because this is where a lot of Alaska videos let you down. There's no perfect month that guarantees perfect weather. May gave me rougher water and a better Juneau. August was prettier, and I never even got off the ship in Juneau. There are trade-offs. Anyone telling you otherwise has been on one cruise. Don't book Alaska, book the itinerary. So if you've already booked, do me a favor, go pull up your itinerary. What month are you going? And how does it actually get you to a glacier? From the ship, or is it on you? Go look. Then tell me when you find out down in the comments, because I read all of them. And if this helped you out, consider subscribing. I have 2 more cruises coming up this year, and I'll be doing exactly this on both of them. Thanks for watching. Smooth seas and happy sailings, my friends. Bye.